take my paper and fold it in half.
I found my Snoop ball.
Oh, good. Then I'm going to fold my paper in half again like this. Oh, that looks like a German Shepherd.
Yeah, he's a German Shepherd.
Big dog.
Yeah, he put Snoopers time.
So,
My old dog was a German Shepherd, man.
yeah, I heard that German Shepherds are great dogs. So on our texture paper, I drew the edges or the lines here on my paper, but you don't have to do that. I'm only drawing it on mine so that you can kind of get an idea of where my areas are that I'm gonna add texture and see it better in the camera. But you have the choice. You don't have to draw those lines. And I'd made some textures before we had class just so you could kind of get an idea of what we're creating. Now when you're making textures, and I'm sure y'all have seen this technique before, you take your paper and you put it on top of something that has a texture. And then you color. So I am going to use, for this one, I'm just going to use crayons. And I grabbed just a handful of crayons. I didn't pay attention to the colors that I used because when I do art like this, where I'm doing a texture or pattern, I think it's a challenge to just see what I grab, what colors I grab, and then how to use those in an interesting way. Now I have these. If we were physically in the classroom and not virtual, you would have access to these too. These are called texture sheets. And I'm only showing these to you because I really like the way that it creates, one, this really cool noise, but two, this pattern or this texture on my paper. Now, y'all don't have a texture sheet, or maybe you do, I don't know. But you have lots of things right by you don't even realize that have texture on them. So here is one of my textures. Now, I like this, but I don't like my textures to just have one solid color. That's my choice though. You could keep it one solid color, but I'm gonna take my paper and just move it slightly on my objects so that I get like an echo, or here we go, like a shadow, I break crayons all the time, of the same texture but in a different color, and it just makes it a little bit more interesting for me, but that's my choice. These that I did yesterday, this right here is actually the handle to my scissors. I took my scissors, I put them down on my paper, and then I used my material and I colored, whoops, there we go, on top of it, and I get that impression or that texture. Then I can take this and I can do it another way. So do y'all kind of get an idea of what I'm doing here? This is this here. Yes, good. This one was one of my favorites that I did yesterday that a student mentioned, and it was a ruler. He said that he had a ruler right with him, so we put the ruler down, and then I did a texture with the ruler. I thought that was really cool. All right. So there are lots of different ways that you can get texture, which is the items around your house or what you have. And don't forget, I think it was Paul Joe that shared with us smooth. Smooth as a texture. And notice that I am using not just the point of my color stick, I'm using the side, so you can do that with your crayons too. Are there questions about what we're gonna do? Yes, Caitlin.
So I don't have access to crayons right now because they're like, because of the kitchen and everything, we had to move stuff, and
Uh-huh.
there's kind of like a big barrier of stuff.
Okay.
And do markers still work?
So-
Or, I have colored pencils.
So colored pencils. If I had to choose between markers or colored pencils, I'd use colored pencils. Markers do work, but it has to be a pretty tall, high up texture for that to work. And I'll show you what I mean. Here is one of the best textures that everybody has, the bottom of their shoe. I'm going to put that on my paper. And now I'm going to use a color pencil. And you can see a color pencil. You can see it better. Also, when you're doing textures with color pencils, it works better if your pencil is dull instead of sharp versus a marker. Here's my marker. And you can see it kind of shows, but it doesn't show as well as the color pencil. I hope y'all can see that. Can y'all see that? Okay. If you don't have any of these things, remember, smooth is a texture. So you can create your own textures. Soft, fluffy. You can draw those on your paper on your own with pencil or any type of color if you don't have an access to this. Now, I'm going to set a timer. I will say begin, and you will draw one texture in that square, and then I'll say stop, and then you'll go to the next, and we'll move through that way. Thumbs up, we're good? Or yes in the chats? I see a lot of thumbs up. Good. So I'm starting your 1 minute. Your 1 minute begins now.
Wait, I don't think he did it.
Huh?
I don't think he did some textures on it.
Okay, so if you've already started, that's okay. Just keep going, okay? There's nothing wrong with doing this or starting a little early. So I am again. Yep. Question?
How long is on the timer?
1 minute. Now here's the thing. If you don't finish it in 1 minute, it's okay. We will keep moving. And you're going to have time to come back. So that was 1 minute. So go to your next section. You can use the same colors or the and different textures, or the same texture for all four, and use different colors. I see a couple people said stop, wait. I'm gonna move to this one, but in the end, okay, JC, in the end, I'm gonna come back and give you 1 minute to do any details or anything you would like to the others. But by the end of this, you will need 4 textures. You can have more, but you'll need at least 4. Okay. So your 1 minute begins now. Like, I really like this ruler, and even though I've already done it that way, I'm gonna still do it again, but I'm gonna do it in a different color and at a diagonal in that kind of direction. And I don't know if JC came back on time or not, but remember, I'm gonna give you a little bit of extra time at the end. I really like this ruler. Okay, good. And also, because I still have a few seconds left and I filled this up with a texture, I am going to add my own lines and details to this picture because I'm the artist and I can. All right, 1 minute. Move to your next one and begin. If you didn't finish that last one, it's okay because we're gonna have a little bit of time to come back to it. My sheet is full. Oh, I'm going to add details to this one, and then I'll tell you what I'm going to do for the next one.
Do I have a timer too?
I have so many texture papers set up, I've lost my scissors. I think they're under my paper somewhere. All right, so stop. Now we're gonna go to the 4th square. Your 1 minute begins now. There they are. Scissor safety. Remember your scissor safety. Yes, Paul. Paul Joe. Okay, good. So in like 10 seconds, everybody else will be done with theirs too, and I'll show you what we're gonna do with these, okay? Let me see. Oh, those look good. I think I can, it looks like I can actually see the texture on your paper. Oh, Sarah, I missed yours. So I'm gonna give you 1 minute. Oh, I like the blue ones. To go through, and in that 1 minute, you can add, like for mine, I went through here and I added these lines here to this. And these textures here, if I wanted to, I could draw on top of these or not. Or I could use this time to make another texture. So, work, yes, that is on, you know, a quarter size or on your paper. Well, I'm going to color this whole thing first. And I'm using the side of my color stick. And then I'm going to come on here. And I'm going to use a color on top. And you'll be surprised at how you'll start to notice textures and everything around your house. All right. Would anybody like to share their textures or show their textures to me? I'd really like to see them. Let me see. All right, Paul Joe. Let me see. Y'all can actually, your camera's on, you can just hold it up.